Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ba'd. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us in our series called Learning How to Read Arabic. Before we begin, I want you to take a gander over here. Look at these letters. Here we have the 28 letters written in Arabic from the beginning to the end, starting with the alif and ending with the ya. There are 28 letters in the Arabic alphabet. Remember that. Also, I want you to remember that Arabic is written and read from the right to the left. Now, before we begin today's lesson, I want to give you just a basic layout of how it's going to go. We'll begin by learning how to pronounce the letter. Then I will talk about some common mistakes that occur when pronouncing these letters. Then I'm going to tell you the location of this letter. And lastly, I will show you how this letter looks when it's written in a word. So today's lesson begins with these first 4 letters of the Arabic alphabet. Alif, written in blue. Ba, written in black. Ta, written in red. And Tha, written in green. So let's start off with Alif, which is written in blue. How is it pronounced? I want you to say along with me, Alif. Alif. One more time, Alif. Good. Now the Alif needs to be light. All right? It needs to be light. So don't make it bold. Don't say Alif. That's incorrect. Alif should be light, meaning that the back of your tongue stays flat, and that will allow your mouth to somewhat open in a horizontal position. Alif. Now that we know how the Alif is pronounced and some common mistakes, let's find and pinpoint its point of origin, where it is actually located. Down here I have a diagram written, and please excuse my artistical skills. I'm not very good at drawing, but to the best of my abilities, here you have what appears to be a face. The tongue, the uvula, the throat, the trachea, right? Alif comes from your throat, and when I talk about the throat, you're probably thinking this whole thing. No, we're going to just limit, right, the location. In fact, it's going to be very close to the end of the tongue where the throat begins. So if I draw this little box, that's probably all we're going to need to pinpoint the location of the Alif. And it's going to be at the bottom part here. There's going to be 6 letters that come from the throat. You've just learned one of them. The letter Alif. It comes from the throat. Alif is only able to connect to the letter before it. It cannot be connected to a letter after it. As you can see in this example here that I have written, the Alif is in the middle. You notice that it was able to be connected to the letter before it. But notice that it is not connected to the letter after it. Right? You're not able to do that with Alif. So I'm going to draw a square around this Alif so that you know that Alif can only be connected from one side, and that is what? Before it, not after it. Let's move on to the next letter, Ba, which is written in black. The letter Ba, I'm going to say it. Please repeat after me. Ba. Ba. One more time. Ba. Good. Now, the letter Ba, like Alif, is light. Well, that means that the back of your tongue should stay flat when you pronounce this letter, and that's going to allow your mouth to open horizontally, somewhat, right, very subtly, and it will give you a soft sounding Ba. You don't want it to sound like Ba. That's bold. We call that mufakham. We don't want to do that. Right? Also, I want you to remember this, that Ba has no air. That's important because if you add air to your Ba, it will become a P. So instead of being Ba, it becomes Pa. Incorrect, right? No air, keep it light. Now that we talked about the common mistakes, let's move on to the location of the ba. The ba, very easy letter to pronounce, and many people have no trouble with it. It requires you to use both of your lips, and both of your lips will be sealed when you pronounce the letter ba. Ba. So they seal, and then they open, releasing the sound. Ba. If we got that down, now let's mention how the ba will appear when it's in a word, so that you're able to recognize it. One thing that stands out immediately with the ba is its shape. It differs from the alif as it is written in that body. Another thing that stands out is that it has a dot on the bottom, one dot beneath it, right? That dot will always be present with the ba. So when ba appears at the beginning of the word, we're just going to take this section, right? And it appears at the beginning. When it's in the middle, it'll still have its dot, but it'll be shrunken somewhat, right? And it will be attached to a letter before or after it, if there's a letter connected before or after it. And at the end, wow, subhanallah. Perfection is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I had two dots there. So now the dot belongs on the bottom. That's how it's going to look when it's at the end. So it's going to be attached to a letter, and it's going to keep its form. And that's how your ba is going to look at the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. Moving along to the next letter. Ta. I'm going to write it right here. Written in red above is the letter ta. I'm going to say it first, so please say it with me. Ta. Ta. One more time. Ta. Good. Ta, like ba and alif, is light. You know this already. The back of your tongue is going to stay flat, and that allows your mouth to open horizontally. So you'll say ta. But unlike ba, ta does have air. So it has air when you pronounce it. The air for the ta is very important because this is where many common mistakes occur in pronouncing the letter ta in Arabic. If you withhold the air, it will sound like ta, ta. And that is not proper Arabic. Now that may be correct in the language that you speak, and I have met many different people who when they speak, they have the letter ta in their language. But we're learning Arabic here, so we want the correct pronunciation of Arabic, so you have to add air to your ta. Ta, all right? And that leads us to what? Its location, right? The location of this letter. Right below the ta, I have this little diagram. So this is a side view of your mouth, an attempt for me to draw a side view of your mouth. The letter ta, the front tooth, bottom tooth. So the tip of your tongue will extend from the inside to where your tooth and your gums connect. There, you will pronounce the letter ta. Yeah? Good. The appearance, I want you to be able to recognize ta. So ta is going to look just like ba in all of its forms, with the one difference, it having what? Two dots. So at the beginning, so if I wrote this here where the ta is, right? So we're just going to take this first part and add two dots. That's your ta at the beginning. In the middle, same thing as the ba, except it has two dots. And at the end, just like the ba, except with two dots. Finally, to conclude our lesson today, the letter tha, written in green. Let's pronounce it first. Tha. 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 Very good. Like ta, tha is also light, right? So the back of your tongue is going to stay flat and your mouth will open horizontally. And it too has air. So it has air, right? Common mistakes. This is a big one here. Unfortunately, when pronouncing Arabic, some people will convert tha into a whole different letter, sin, and they're not equal. So instead of saying tha, they say sa, and that's like an S, right? So it's two different letters completely. If we turn the tha into an S, then we're going to lose that letter altogether, and we cannot have that. So remember that tha is not the same as the sin. Don't say sa, tha. Now, why is that mistake occurring? It occurs because of not pronouncing it from the correct location. So the tip of your tongue must extend to where the bottom tooth is. Tip of the tongue here touches the bottom tooth, the front teeth. Tha. How do people mispronounce it? They keep the tip of their tongue inside and they say sa. So you no longer see my tongue anymore. Tha. Correct that mistake by extending the tip of your tongue so that it touches the bottom of the front two teeth. All right? We got the location down. The way to recognize a tha is by its dots. It's going to look like ba and ta, except that it's going to have its dots. So at the beginning, same body, but 3 dots above it. In the middle, same body, but 3 dots above it. And at the end, same body, but 3 dots above it. So these are our letters for today's lesson. Alif, ba, ta, and tha. Study hard, write them down, recognize them, and remember them. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.